Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rio Grande Valley. HEB Park, the home of RGV, as they play host to El Paso Locomotive. Both of these teams looking for 3 points tonight because they want to play in the postseason. I am Bruce Silverman along with Chris Nurse, and it is a beautiful night for the beautiful game, is it not, Nursey?
Yeah, most certainly it's a beautiful night to pick up points. You know, earlier in the season, coaches most certainly spoke about, establishing their style and their identity as a coaches and a team. Approaching the last 10 games, it's most certainly about picking up points if they want to make the playoffs.
RGV, very good at home, 5 wins for El Paso. On the road in the last 5 games, only 1 win. Something's got to give tonight. We're going to take a look at 2 players right now. The first one is the big man with the little name.
Yes, almost certainly. He's represented his national team, Panama. Speaks to the caliber it is as a player. He has 9 goals in 19 games, almost 1 in every 2 games. They're going to need him to come up big tonight if they're going to make a push for the playoffs.
He is a big target, and he likes to score goals. So that is what Coach Echeverry is going to be looking to do for the boys that wear orange. On the other side, for Mark Lowry, it is Edson Partita, and he is an athletic player.
Yeah, Partita on loan from Toluca. Toluca, one of the most established clubs in Mexico, speaks to the talent and the potential that this player has. Hopefully he can have a good loan spell here and go back and have a big impact in his team, but tonight they're going to need him with that left foot to create some magic.
So that is the layout of the land. When we come back, we will kick things off. Do not go away. RGV Locomotive next on ESPN+.
Elige el sabor que quieras.
¡Híjole! ¡Qué rico!
Provecho, Bruce.
Gracias, hermano.
Welcome back inside HEB Park. Toros, Locomotive. Both of these teams looking for 3 points. Echeverry and Lowry putting out their best 11s tonight. On Bruce Silverman along with Chris Nurse and Nursey. Both of these teams, tremendous amount of talent. We are 2/3 of the way through the season. There aren't a lot of surprises now.
Yeah, and we spoke earlier about at this stage of the season, it's all about picking up results, and the team that Locomotive has, has a lot of experience, a lot of youth. Rio Grande Valley, on the other hand, it's a more youthful side, despite having the likes of Small up top who's played for their national team. They don't have so much experience in their team when it comes to the business end of the season, understanding how to perform and also pick up results.
Nico Corti will be in the pipes for RGV tonight. On the other side for Mark Lowry, coach that you actually played against.
Yeah, Mark Lowry does a fantastic job of implementing his own style and his own philosophy of how he likes his team to play. He's got a number of players that he's brought across from Jacksonville who are very familiar with how he likes his team to play, but they're going to have to pick up points because they need to make the playoffs. The talent that's on this roster and expectations of the organization as the manager and the players themselves, nothing less than playoffs is going to be acceptable for them.
So that is the starting lineup for both of these teams. There is Mr. Echeverry looking very dapper in the sport jacket this evening. That will last until about the 20th minute, and then you'll see him take it off and start working the sideline. A very talented coach came over from Seton Hall in New Jersey to take over this RGV squad, having a conversation with his big man, Carlos Small. On the other side, it's Mark Lowry, a coach that you know very well throughout your career.
Yeah, he plays a very possession-based style, his approach to the game, irrespective of the result, whether they're winning or losing. You know, he likes the team to possess. He likes them to play out the back. He has good players in the midfield. They're able to penetrate the lines. They just need to be clinical in the final third. And he's made some good loan moves with the likes of Partita coming in from Mexico to have a good impact on this team.
And he brought in a number of guys he was very familiar with in Drew Becky, Yuma, and Richie Ryan. All three of them playing previously for Mark Lowry in his stops in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and of course, Richie Ryan in the middle there. You know, he's a very, very experienced player, 35 years old. He's more than just an on-field player. You know, he's almost like the on-field coach. He's the one that will be dictating the shape of the team on the pitch, the organization, pulling players around the field. Obviously, his legs don't move as much as they would have done in his younger years, but I'm sure his voice and his presence on the pitch has a huge impact on the team.
I like to refer to Richie Ryan as the quarterback because he really is the guy that picks it up, makes things go. When he is typically playing, and tonight he's more in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1, typically he likes to get the ball at his feet. He told me years ago, if I dribble the ball more than once or twice, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, and the thing about him, the second that he finds the ball in space and has time and he can get his head up, he has immense quality in that left foot. You know, he can find good quality passes forward. He can find the forwards. He can create opportunities, good through ball. Tremendous on set pieces. So his quality is a huge positive for their team.
We are underway here. Locomotive going from left to right on your screen, and in orange, it will be RGV going from the right to the left. Right now, you have Locomotive working the ball on that back line out to Yuma. Yuma usually, in years past, after starting his career in Spain with Rayo, played as a midfielder, now is a right fullback for Mark Lowry. Ball sent over the top. Locomotive working their way down the pitch. RGV sent it all the way back to Yuma, who will settle it down, move it back forward. Chapa for Drew Becky. And now Fox. Fox deciding which way he wants to go. Sends it forward. Connects with Partita. And now Carlos Small picking it up. Salazar back out wide. Trying to find Small. Knocked away. It will be a throw-in for RGV.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it looked like Locomotive have put themselves in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Herrera and Ryan dropping in as the 2 6s when they're out of possession. Ryan does a fantastic job of always finding himself in space when they're in possession of the ball. And that's how he's able to pick those forward passes, because he always has 2 or 3 seconds to make the decision.
Donovan sending it out. And now we'll move everything right back. Back out to the left side.
It'll be interesting to see Rio Grande Valley's approach to this game. Predominantly through the season, they've scored most of their goals in the second half of the game. They've scored 26 goals in the second half of the game, and just 13 in the first half. So over the season so far, they've been better at scoring in the last stages of the game, more so than in the early stages of the game. But it's going to be one of them games where the first goal is going to be very important to the confidence and the momentum of the game.
Locomotive feeling the pressure, having to work out of the back. Becky out to Fox. Fox over to Ryan. Now Yuma moving it forward. Trying to get that long distance pass that does not go. Collision in the middle, no whistle, play on. And now back out wide, Locomotive with some room to maneuver down that upper track. Getting it inside, good one-touch passing all the way through. And now Ryan settling it down, and there's that one touch, send it right back out wide. Kiff, Ryan, sliding it, trying to lead Partita to the corner, earning El Paso a throw.
Very early in the game, but El Paso have very early dictated their philosophy and their style in the game. They're very content going side to side if the forward passes are on. Obviously, the likes of Herrera and Richie Ryan getting on the ball, they look for the forward pass, but if it's not on, they're very content moving the ball side to side and forcing Rio Grande Valley to do a lot of running.
Will set the tone early on as the visitors are the aggressors here. Just 4 minutes in. Shot from way downtown, and see a little bit of frustration. Kisvita wanted that to come his way. He was inside the box. But we've got a corner coming up. So El Paso from the near corner here in the 5th minute. In swinger coming up. Kiff high in the air. Kisvita was setting up for a bicycle kick, went over his head. Play at the line. Richie Ryan coming in to keep it in play. Player goes down. That is Partita. And here comes RGV on the attack. Enriquez, long distance, looking for Small. Flag is down. Small misses, goes wide, had an entirely open net, and he missed it.
That's not something that you'd expect to see from Small.
And his head is down for a reason. Ketterer was beat, and Carlos Small could not close the deal. We've got a stoppage of play right here. Are you surprised by Small? Small is not the kind of player that misses that kind of opportunity.
I think that there was a fantastic look up. The delivery of the ball was nice. It was terrible defending from Yuma in that situation. He's gone to ground, completely missed the ball. But Small had all the time in the world to pick his corner, and he's put it wide of the post. He most certainly wishes he had the one. That getting that early goal would have been massive for Rio Grande Valley in this fixture.
Ryan sending it forward. Connects with Velasquez. Ryan gets it back. Yuma, 33 years old, out of Spain. A lot of miles on a lot of pitches. Velasquez challenged, knocked away. Velasquez getting it in. Chapa going from one side to the other. And El Paso being very, very possessive of the ball. First whistle really of the game. But this is the mark of a Mark Lowry team, to possess the ball, dictate pace, dictate the play. And RGV's just settling in. Here's Velasquez into the box. Pass behind, shot is knocked away by the defender. But El Paso right back on it. Velasquez trying to earn the corner. And we're going to get an opportunity to look at Carlos Small once again.
Yeah, it's not often you get a gift like this. Terrible defending there from Yuma. He's got all the time in the world to pick his corner, and he puts it wide of the post. It's a complete let-off for Locomotive, but that's terrible finishing there from Small. For somebody who's been so clinical this season in front of goal, he most certainly wishes he could take that shot, that chance again.
Ketterer comes out to cut down the angle. If Carlos Small works the ball to his left foot versus the right, the net's a lot wider.
Yeah, but you know, he's done the right thing going to that corner, but he's just gone too wide of the post.
Junka. Good passing for Bird. RGV, first real attack outside of that one shot that Carlos Small missed, but Richie Ryan playing some serious defense. Ball sent out, and the only man that was there to pick it up is wearing an orange kit, so here comes RGV.
And despite El Paso Locomotive's possession, because they most certainly possessed in the early stages of this opening 10 minutes, Rio Grande Valley has had the best chance.
Yeah, that's a great point, that despite the fact that they have really dictated it, really brought it from left to right, it has been opportunities by Carlos Small, as we see he got rejected right there.
Yep.
Bird going out wide, Enriquez. Second year with the Toros for Jesus. RGV mounting another attack. Junka on loan from Houston. Here's Martinez playing catch with Castellanos. Out for Connor Donovan, the captain this evening for the Toros. Junka. Rodriguez, good one-touch passing. A good spell of possession by the Toros.
This El Paso team almost seems it has two different formations. One formation in an attacker and an alternate formation when they're defending. When they're defending, it looks like they almost drop into a 4-4-2 formation, and the defense collapses to the back of their 18-yard box, and they're just happy to allow the defenders to play the ball from side to side as long as they're not penetrating them and causing them issues.
Richie Ryan stepping in front of that pass. Those long distance passes tend to be the Achilles heel of RGV, because they do end up playing good defense, picking up the ball, but that opportunity gets stymied. They go long distance, and unless they're absolutely precise.
Yeah, El Paso collapsing into a 4-4-2 formation. It's very difficult to break down because they make the field narrow and make the compact spaces, so it's difficult to play between the lines, and it's difficult for Rio Grande Valley to break down two banks of four. But you can see when they get possession, they make the field very big. You can see out on the flanks here, the two wingers are very high and wide, so they make the space very big when they're in possession. When they're out of possession, they make it very narrow and tight.
Ball comes back to Yuma right in front of the RGV bench. Sending it forward. Salgado sending it back. Drew Becky. There's a story right there. Major health problems just a few years ago. Thought it was not only career-ending, but it was life-threatening, and to see him back playing again.
Yeah, you know, it speaks for his character as not just as a person, but as a player being able to overcome adversity. It's a characteristic that many players need to be successful in.
Small, bringing it towards the box, going past Salazar. Bird, knocked down from behind, no whistle, play on, and away we go.
Thought the referee may have blown his whistle there for a nudge in the back, but he allowed play to continue.
But there's a whistle there. Yuma going forward and getting it back. And this seems to be where RGV just puts enough pressure on that it makes Locomotive retreat.
Yeah, but the difference is you can see that the technical abilities of Locomotive, they're comfortable in possession even when they're under pressure. They're happy to receive the ball under pressure. You know, it doesn't faze them, and they actually like to be pressured because it opens spaces and creates spaces for other players on the field.
Corner coming up, second corner of the evening for the Train. And it will come from the other side. Quesaveda inside the box as you see more blue kids joining. Outswinger here. Kiff lifts it high, headed out by Castellanos. Locomotive right back on it.
It's interesting to see that the two corners that Locomotive have had so far, neither of them been taken by Richie Ryan, who has been an assassin when it comes to set pieces throughout his career, both on corner deliveries and set pieces from free kicks.
RGV mounting their attack. Triple team having to go back now out wide. And you see the speed on the outside. Flicking it in. Carlos Small getting a shot on, but it wasn't all that strong. Small now 3 shots, but he just hasn't been able to put them on frame.
Yeah, despite missing that opportunity, he's a big threat. He's always in the right place. He's always there and about when the ball's in and around the box.
There are some players that they just know how to sniff out the goal, and Small is one of those guys.
Yeah, and if you have a goal scoring ratio of 1 in 2, 19 appearances and 9 goals, you know, it's more of an instinct. It's something that he senses. He knows where the danger is. He knows where to be in and around the box. He anticipates where the ball's going to bounce or where it's going to land. That's how he scores a high number of his chances.
Ryan doing a good job of trying to clear out any opportunity by RGV, sending it out wide. Kiff now. Back for Fox. Velasquez. Becky once again. Player down is Salazar. And he'll have to be attended here in the 15th minute.
Yeah, I think this little break in play is good. It's been a little bit frantic the opening 15 minutes to just give the players now a chance to regain their breath, catch their second wind, and strategize how they're going to go into the last 30 minutes of this first half.
Small in that opportunity, what did you see?
Yeah, it's difficult. Yuma's doing a good job defensively. He's just got enough contact on him to put him off so he doesn't get a clean strike on the ball.
Yuma kind of returning the favor after the first opportunity that he gave Carlos Small.
Yeah, most certainly. I don't think Coach Lowry will be very impressed with how Yuma defended that delivery for Small's first opportunity, but I think Yuma probably shook his hand and thanked him for missing it.
Mark Lowry working the iPad. Not something that he did a few years ago. Just a little bit older, a little bit more experienced in using the technology now.
Yeah, it's not something that many coaches did many years ago. I think we're now seeing technology have a huge impact in coaches on the touchline. You can see possession stats, you can see passes, you can see the heat map throughout the course of the game. So instead of having to wait till half-time or maybe relying on your own perception of what you think you might have saw, you can actually see the statistics directly in front of your eye.
Michael Salazar walking off the pitch under his own power, giving both coaches an opportunity to talk to their players. What are those conversations like when they get a stoppage of play, especially 15 minutes in?
I think it just gives the coaches a chance to make slight adjustments. You know, it's not a water break, it's not half-time, but that natural break in play allow coaches to get directions onto their captains, get directions onto their players of maybe some subtle changes they may want to make in the first half.
All right, so the 26-year-old Adebelize is back on the pitch as we enter the 17th minute of play. We are scoreless. Best opportunity, despite the fact that they have not possessed the ball as much and belong to the Toros. Best spells of possession have been with the visitors.
And the thing is, with possession, maintaining possession, you wear down your opponent. So while the game may seem fairly balanced right now, over the course of 90 minutes, Rio Grande Valley at this stage will be the ones who are getting more tired because they don't have so much possession of the ball. And it'll be in the latter stages of the games that you'll be expecting Paso.
Rodriguez took the ball to the baseline, sent it into the middle, but behind Small.
Yeah, you'll be in the latter stage of the games that you'll expect to see El Paso Locomotive breaking down Rio Grande Valley as a byproduct of having possessed the ball and worn them out to the stage where they have less energy and then spaces and concentration and players make mistakes. So you know, they're playing more so of a long game rather than the short game.
Fox back for Becky, and then back to his keeper, giving it right back. And just enough of a high line by RGV to keep him honest.
Yeah, but you still see very comfortable playing here, just looking for the long ball to relieve pressure there. But we've also, just in that moment, seen how the game is evolving with the centre-backs collapsing inside the box now to receive the ball to play out from the goalkeepers. You know, last season, very much when the rules, the defenders weren't allowed inside of the box for goal kicks. Now you see the new rules coming into play where the centre-backs come inside and receive the ball from the goalkeeper, play a lot deeper, a lot more risk, a lot more exciting for the fans, but you know, it can be very tough on the nerves also for the coaches.
Castellanos sending it forward for Rodriguez. Now Small, he loses the handle, but RGV still on it. Bird, injured player down, is Rodriguez. Play on as the attack is mounting. Enriquez working his way towards the box, looking for a clearance. He gets it. Small trying to pull off the bicycle kick. And it was Rodriguez getting back on his feet, but sending it well over the bar.
Yeah, Small again in the right area. Not sure if it was the right choice of finish, considering he didn't connect with the ball whatsoever, but he's always there and thereabouts.
Good job to work the ball even into the box. Small in that big body trying to go up for it. Missed it completely. And then Rodriguez missing the goal completely.
Yeah, and it's Enriquez. I think Enriquez was responsible for providing that service for the first opportunity that Small had. He's doing a good job of finding Small. Small just has to have a little bit more composure in that final third to get the ball down and at least make the keeper work. Hit the ball on target.
Here is Martinez in swinger. Drives it, headed on and headed out. And we'll stay where we are. So the 22-year-old out of Brownsville, Texas, who played his college ball here at Texas RGV, will serve it back up. High in the air, headed away once again. RGV will control it, and we'll do it again. If you're Echeverry, you're very happy with the way that your team has kind of weathered the storm and buckled down and really now bringing the pressure right to the Locomotive.
Yeah, but they need to make these chances count. Small's had a number of good looks on goal. You know, they're not going to get 10, 20 chances. So far, they've had 4. They need to test the keeper and make the keeper work. They've not tested the keepers yet. It's going to be, they know as the game goes on, yes, Locomotive, they possess the ball. They're going to create goal-scoring opportunities.
All right, here's Martinez again. He goes short this time. Served into the box, headed out not once but twice. RGV right back on it, serving it in. Castellanos was able to serve it close to the box. Ketterer was able to snatch it out of the air and send it forward. Locomotive having a hard time clearing it out. We've got a player down. It's Salazar once again, holding the ankle. Play will continue here in the 21st. And finally, we have a stoppage of play in Michael Salazar. And we get to take another look at exactly how this happened. It was a reckless challenge by Salazar.
I think it was a fairly good challenge. I think Salazar comes in there, he just kind of dangles a leg rather than making a strong challenge for the ball. I think Herrera does well. Even though he goes to ground, I think he makes full contact with the ball. Salazar just probably needs to shake that one off and be a little bit more aggressive in how he goes to challenge for the ball himself.
Collided with Chapa. The 23-year-old had earned himself a contract with El Paso when he impressed during a friendly. Went to an open tryout. Mark Lowry signed him to a contract and gave him the number 20. Salazar, 10 caps with Belize. Played with the Ottawa Fury, also played with Montreal Impact. And you see Echeverry now in the 22nd minute and still has the jacket on. As Salazar is still being attended to, gives me an opportunity to tell you Select is the official ball supplier of USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Salazar's had a rough night, already been attended to twice. But as we were going back, Chris, and we were talking about these stoppages of play, giving both managers an opportunity to have conversations almost like a timeout in other sports. And obviously we know you can't call timeout in the game of football.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned Salazar going down there. I think part of the game is mental warfare. You know, you never want your opponents to know that you're hurt or you're wounded or you're injured. Sometimes you have to learn to ride a tackle or not to show that you're hurt every time somebody leaves a little bit on you. It's part of the game. And I'm sure it's part of the tactics of El Paso Locomotive too. You know, if they can get around him, if they can make him uncomfortable, make him think twice when he's receiving the ball because they're being physical in the way they're playing with him, it can allow them to be successful. So something Salazar, you know, he's an experienced player. You know, he has to learn to get another way of dealing with it rather than just stopping the game for 5 minutes each time. Because he's back on the field now, I'm pretty certain he could probably continue a little bit quicker.
Partita started us up. Errant pass picked off momentarily. Here comes Locomotive once again. Yuma on the wing. Velasquez feeling pressure, has to pass it. Ball ends up at the feet of Yuma. And they'll work it once again. Chapa. Ryan right back to Chapa. Becky Fox crosses midfield. Kiff gets into the mix, not once but twice.
I think what we may underappreciate, Bruce, is the tempo that the ball's moving at. Locomotive are doing a good job of playing in 1 and 2 touches. And when they play in 1 and 2 touches, that ball's moving a lot quicker than it may seem to us watching online or watching on the television. It means that Rio Grande Valley are doing a lot of running from side to side consistently without the ball. It's going to take its toll on their legs.
Good leading pass for Kiff, just knocked away at the last minute. So Kiff will have a throw deep in the final third. We're in the 25th minute, scoreless. And Nico Corti has not been tested at all so far this evening. Ball into the box, and that's chested right back to Corti by Kevin Rodriguez. So just as that is the broadcaster's jinx. Just as you name a player, the play comes his way.
It's most certainly a jinx. He tested the keeper, his own keeper, and picked up an injury all in the same move.
Looks like Connor Donovan, the captain this evening for RGV, down outside of his box. Nope, it is Rodriguez who is down. And it looked like chesting the ball back to his keeper might have taken the breath out.
Seems like he's recovered fairly well.
Back to action.
But yeah,
26 minutes.
Sometimes you can see teams possessing the ball, but it can be very slow, and Lafarge get a lot of touches. It's not dangerous, you know, it's not hurting the other team. El Paso are dangerous when they're possessing the ball because they move it side to side quickly with the purpose of exploiting space. So far, they've not tested the keeper quite as much as they like, but it's a case of wearing down the opponent.
It seems like they get to right to the edge of the final third, and that's where things start to break down because the defense of RGV gets so compact, shuts them down.
Yeah, and I think that the experience that they have, you can see there's not really any pressure. You know, they're calm. They know their chances are going to come. It's just a case of when that opportunity arises, they've got to be clinical with it.
Juka sending it out wide. Ball flicked in and waiting on it, Ketterer. Here comes Locomotive once again. Yuma for Becky, couldn't handle it. Carlos Small was breaking on it. Back to Ketterer. And we've got a whistle right in front of the RGV bench. Had a great conversation with Mr. Echeverry just the other day. Your first opportunity to have conversation with him. What were your impressions?
Oh, he was very upbeat and very positive going into this game. You know, he believes he has a good group of players. He likes what they're doing, how they're buying into his training philosophy, into the tactics that they're working on each week. And, you know, they go into the game with a positive mindset. He understands that they don't have the most experienced group of players, but he understands they're doing the best they can, and he's trying to get the best out of them, and he's content with what they've returned to him so far.
Ball stays in play. Richie Ryan sending it forward. It will go past the intended target. And Nico Corti will gather it up, get it out to Castellanos.
He was, though, he had a lot of admiration and praise for Coach Lowry and the squad that he's assembled and the philosophy and style that he's implemented on his team. And he's very, gave him a lot of credit, a lot of respect.
Moving the ball forward, RGV momentarily has to go back. They'll regroup on that back line of 4 of Samuels, Castellanos, Donovan, and Juka. And that's too heavy for Rodriguez. And Ketterer will kick it away. Fans, follow RGV and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+. Home to the USL, MLS, USC, and more. Join over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Another ball sent forward. Velasquez surveying his options, pulling up the brakes. Sees what he likes, sends it into the box, and Corti's waiting on it. Is that a matter of just Locomotive getting impatient?
Maybe just a little bit of frustration. You're approaching 30 minutes into the game, and you've not really made the keeper work. I think that they understand that you have to take shots in order to score goals, in order to win the game, and it's just a case of that frustration creeping in. But patience. If they're patient, they continue how they're playing, the opportunities will arise.
Ball out wide for Samuels. Coming back for Donovan. Castellanos. Back for Donovan. Bird getting into the action.
And this is the difference. You can see Locomotive are happy to allow them to pass the ball side to side in their own half. It's not penetrating them, it's not hurting them. This is the danger areas.
Richie Ryan ends up with the loose ball. Locomotive now having to work it back themselves. Kiff sliding through to the mouth of the 18. Now Yuma.
When Rio Grande have tried to come through the middle, Ryan and Herrera have done a good job of winning the ball back. They've had more success when they've gone wide, and the likes of Enriquez has delivered crosses into the box.
Corti clears it out at the last moment. Throw in near the middle of the pitch as we enter the 31st minute. As you look at Corti. Ryan. Going up top for Kiff. The 21-year-old gives it back to the 34-year-old. Safe to say that Richie Ryan is the most experienced player on this pitch.
He's most experienced, and if you talk to any player that's played with him, the admiration they have for his level and his passing capability, it's not just his ability to see a pass, it's the weight of the pass and the accuracy that he delivers the pass with. He's quite gifted with his left foot.
Good one-touch passing until the breakdown, but it will stay.
That being said, I never see him hit that level of pass with his right foot too much. It's very much left-footed, but it's a very good left foot.
It's an outstanding left foot. He played 11 years overseas before he even came to the United States. Played in the EPL. And that ball intended for someone wearing a blue kit, but nobody home for it. I was talking to Richie earlier today, and I asked him how the city of El Paso was doing after the mass shooting last month. And he said that El Paso, and keep in mind, Richie in his first year in El Paso, obviously for an expansion club, El Paso is a young and a quiet city. So when something like what happened happens, it really startles the community. But he said the community is really coming together, and that's great news. And that is something that a franchise like Locomotive can help the heel.
Yeah, and you can see that the crowd at this game, a very tight-knit crowd supporting each other. You know, they love sport, they love soccer. It's something that brings everybody together, and I'm sure this team can bring a lot of happiness and smiles to the people in the city.
Bird, Rodriguez knocking it away. Right back on it. Back out to Rodriguez. Trying to whip it in, gets knocked away. Chapa chasing. Great control, great opportunity for Locomotive. Salgado being patient, throwing it towards the corner, chasing it down. Partita going back to Kiff. Kiff surveying his options, working it towards the 18, now in the 18. Leading Partita, and he just couldn't catch up with it.
It was the right idea. The pass might just have been a little bit too hard. With some good intricate play around the edge of the box. But again, despite all the good passing, they failed to test the goalkeeper again, despite a good counter-attack.
Kiff being patient, feeling a little bit of pressure, and then sliding that pass, and looked like just for a moment that Edson might have come up lame. But once again, coming right back into the box, working the angle and just missing. What another great opportunity by El Paso. Just couldn't close the deal.
I think by the look on his face, he thought he'd scored that, but fantastic skill on his left foot. Just gets that half a yard on defender, and he just wants to wrap his foot around that ball and aim for the far corner rather than the near corner. I think if he goes for the far corner, that's in the back of the net. But
Sebastian Velasquez spent 4 years in MLS with Real Salt Lake and NYCFC before coming back to Salt Lake and playing with Real Monarch. As Cordy kicks it away.
El Paso just turning up the heat a little bit, but again, yet to test the goalkeeper.
Salazar. Junca. And here's Rodriguez. Final third, picks up 2 defenders. Junca. Back to Rodriguez. Rodriguez splitting the defenders into the middle. RGV just with one heavy touch, and it turns the other way. Partita.
I thought when that ball came across the box there, Bird might have hit it first time.
Rodriguez thought he could connect with Small, but it's knocked away. Locomotive going the other way. 36 minute, they work it all the way back.
El Paso doing a good job of collapsing as a defense when they're not in possession of the ball and when the ball's around the edge of the box. So there's not that space to play through passes.
Shot from distance, doesn't make the mark, but it was teed up by Martinez, and he just missed an opportunity to put Toros on the board.
Ambitious effort, to say the least. He striked it nicely, but didn't seem like it was anywhere near frame.
Salgado back for Drew. Yuma taking his time, sliding it forward. Velasquez connects with Ryan, now back out. That pass just didn't have enough pace on it. And coming the other way is Samuels, sliding it for Salazar. Now Enriquez just outside the box, trying to pull up the brakes. He's trying to stay on his feet. Can't do it. He gets his pocket picked.
Frustrating. There's some good build-up there from Rio Grande Valley, but the attacker actually tackles himself and gives possession back to El Paso.
Did you ever do that?
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you that far up the pitch. Yuma back for Becky. Fox.
You see the tempo in the game's just slowed down quite substantially compared to the opening stages of the game.
Salgado working the way into the middle. Hard to keep up that kind of pace.
Yeah, most certainly, and that's where possession takes its toll.
Kiff going out wide. Locomotive in the final third. Nobody home, and Donovan will control this one nicely. And that didn't ricochet the way Donovan wanted it to. Now Becky inside the circle, keeping it alive for El Paso.
I think approaching halftime, both coaches will be fairly comfortable with how their teams have performed. Of course, Rio Grande Valley will feel a little bit hard done by the chances that they've had and not converted, but I think there's still a second half to play, and both teams have taken a lot of positives from the first half, and they'll look to build on that.
Salgado flicking it into the box, headed away. Richie Ryan off the chest. Back out for Salgado.
I think for El Paso, the key they'll be looking at is how can they turn this possession into goal scoring opportunities. I think that's something they'll be discussing at halftime. For Rio Grande Valley, I think it's a case of can we convert the opportunities that we've had. I think they defended fairly well. You know, maybe they're not trying to possess the ball in the same manner as El Paso, but they've created goal scoring opportunities, and if they're more clinical, they most certainly get something out of this game.
Chapa sending it forward. And I think that's what El Paso needs to do, is when they get into the final third, they need to be still going vertical. They tend to go side to side when they get into the final third, and eventually they can't get that shot on.
Yep. But we've seen, you know, they have danger men there. Edson, players who can get the ball, pick up that ball in that left foot and create moments of magic on their own. But, you know, the key element's got to be hitting the target and making the keeper work.
Fox, just enough pressure from Small, sending it forward, connecting. And here is the vertical attack. Locomotive into the box. Not enough pace on that one. Samuels sending it forward, too heavy, and waiting on it, Ketterer. And quickly out for Yuma in the 40th minute.
Yeah, Rio Grande Valley just need to be a little bit more patient in how they build their attack. The last thing you want to do is allow El Paso to possess the ball, and the moment you win it back, you give it straight back to them.
Yuma sending it forward. Salgado defended, working the line. Juga on him. Sending it into the middle, missing the intended target, headed away. And RGV trying to connect with Small, they do.
Fantastic defending header there, but again, we spoke about the middle of the park and the good job that Richie Ryan and Herrera are doing at snuffing out any kind of attacks that they get through there. Rio Grande Valley have been more successful going wide. Maybe that's what they need to get back to, that allowed them to create goal scoring opportunities in the early stages of this game.
Chapa sending it forward. Velasquez. Salgado. Double team. Has to turn around. Go all the way back to Yuma. Velasquez. Chapa Velasquez. Into the box. Gets the shot off. Punched away by Corti. Cleared out by RGV. Becky with his head.
Some good individual play there from Velasquez. A cheeky nutmeg. I think he ends up striking the ball with his unfavored right foot, but first time they've made the keeper work.
Salgado. Ryan. There's that left foot out wide.
I thought with a better first touch there, Ryan may have teed up his own shot and tested the keeper from distance there.
Kiff. Shot. Whiffed on. Salgado. Now whipping it into the box. Corti calling for it. That was a dangerous play. Two fronts. One, there was a player with a blue kit in front of him. Second is he wasn't able to snatch out of the air cleanly. Could have ended up as a rebound opportunity.
Yeah, he didn't quite claim it as clean as he might have liked, but he did a good job in the end of being able to retain possession for his team with that ball.
Salazar working his way towards the 18, now in the 18. Tees up on it. And we're going to stay where we are. Corner coming up on the far side. And Salazar doing a good job of getting the shot off.
Yeah, some individual footwork here. Takes on Yuma, dives in, good strike. Perhaps not as accurate as he may have liked, but registering shots on target is never going to be a bad thing, and they have an opportunity here from this corner.
Martinez in swinger high. Salazar was breaking on it. Throw in will belong to RGV. This is the way that RGV would like to close out the half, having opportunities deep inside their own scoring zone.
Yeah, and Salazar's come to life in the past couple of minutes and has been a big part of that. You know, he's a big physical presence himself. He needs to impose himself on the defenders and be more of a nuisance for them to deal with, more so than him being the one on the end of challenges or going down injured. He needs to impose his physicality in the game.
Working from the back, RGV trying to come up with at least one more scoring opportunity before the break. Small can't track that one down. It will belong to Ketterer here in the 44th minute. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy.
Handball there from Yuma. I'm surprised the referee didn't give him a yellow card.
Luis Gardia has been relatively quiet. He is the man with the Barbasol this evening. Martinez from striking distance. Does he serve it into the middle, or does he just whip it around on Ketterer?
I think he has to deliver it into the box. They've sent the big defenders up. This would be the perfect time to take the lead.
Just couldn't put his head on it. Enriquez was just chasing on it. Good service.
Good delivery. I think if he gets a touch on that, it's going past the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, he just mistimed his header, but it's a good delivery into the box.
Almost, I think he overran the ball. 45th minute. Ketterer right foots it. And stolen away by RGV. Here's Small. Becky in front of him. Trying to get around Becky. Drew stealing it away. Salazar had an opportunity. Small coming back to it. And we're going to have a set piece opportunity just outside the box. And a card is going to be handed out. We've got 3 minutes of added time for your viewing pleasure. And need confirmation if it was just the Barbasol or if in fact Gardia went to his pocket. But this ball sitting about 2 yards outside the box. So no card on the play, but Gardia has dropped the Barbasol. And we get another look at the foul before we see that 5-man wall.
Ball's just bouncing. I think Small just stabs it away and the defender catches him late. Definitely a free kick. Small doesn't look like he's going to allow anybody else to take this one, and it's a massive moment if he can execute this and put his team into the lead just before half-time.
Small is the right foot. Martinez is the left. 5-man wall.
See the
Small got it through the wall, and at the last second, Ketterer jumped on it.
Don't know if you got a chance to see the unorthodox wall there. Drew Becky behind the wall down on one knee, just behind them, but Small wraps his foot around. The keeper does a good job to get hold of it.
And it actually went off the body of Chapa. So sneaky little plays on both sides. But we stay knotted at 0-0. And the big man, born in Brazil, played in Bundesliga, actually calls the United States home now, and that's Jerome Quesavera. And now Salgado. Salgado double teamed, trying to find some space, has to go back to Chapa. He'll serve it up, and that will go through the box. Kiff, Enriquez in front of him, over everybody, and that would have been dangerous. Junka catches up with his own mistake. Going over the top, foot race between Small and Yuma. Ball out for Becky. And another good battle, and we've seen that throughout the evening. Yuma and Carlos Small.
Yeah, you always see teams, being very creative in their attacking set pieces, but it's interesting to see teams being just as creative and how they're defending set pieces and how they're lining up their walls and the position in the players.
Junga out wide. Samuels, Enriquez. Back to the man from the University of Maryland. Still on the ball, RGV. Here in borrowed time. Salazar, Rodriguez into the box. Richie Ryan is there. And we're just waiting for the final whistle. That will end the half. We're not there yet.
There's been a few big tackles in this game. I'm surprised, we haven't seen a couple more yellow cards. Seeing as referees can give cards for excessive force these days, which I think is crazy. Either it's a foul or it's not a foul. I don't think there's such thing as excessive force. Normally, if you don't go into a challenge 120%, you're normally the one that gets hurt. So.
At the end of the first half,
all right, time for us to take a break. We go to the dressing room. 0-0 after 45 plus 3. Don't go away. Halftime coming up next here on ESPN+.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's Bank.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Shop online at birdogden.com. Pick out your vehicle and click Buy Now. Work your own deal and submit your trade. It's that easy. Shop now at birdogden.com. Daligas.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
to HEB Park, 0-0 after 45 plus 3. Mr. Toro having a good time as the Locomotive are in town. It is fan week throughout USL, so let's celebrate the fans in this great league. And right now we're gonna take a look at what happened around the USL.
Obi charging on, curling the cross. That's excellent from Harvino. Quickly to Watson. Watson going to take a shot. Oh my! That is sensational from the Irishman. Plays it across. And finds the one-hit attempt.
Welcome into episode 13 of Steal Some Time. We are going to start over in the East and chat a little bit about North Carolina hosting the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this week. And I think that we can easily say that nobody saw a 5-0 outcome, at least in North Carolina's favor, coming out of week 24. But let me tell you, North Carolina stuck it to the Riverhounds, shut down that unbeaten streak that they had going. And really, I mean, they dominated play, outshot Pittsburgh 13-5, 8 shots on target as well, which is fantastic. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, didn't have a single shot on target, and I think that's obviously a major difference maker. North Carolina looked good, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, the same week Austin Duluth announces his retirement, he then goes and dedicates a 5-0 win over Pittsburgh to the Oak City supporters.
So cool.
Definitely didn't play out how I thought it would.
Right. And
I think that I speak for the vast majority of fans around the championship who just kind of looked at that and said, what the heck's going on with Pittsburgh?
Elsewhere ahead in week 25, I don't know how much longer we can talk about Phoenix, but they're giving us no other choice. They're back for another dollar beer night, and this time they're hosting Sacramento. And I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm going to say that this story's different. As good as Phoenix's backline has been, I think this is the biggest chance all season that Phoenix is going to have a run for their money on dollar beer night, going for 15 straight wins.
Are you calling I won't make you go out.
No, I'll call that. Yeah, I think this is it.
They're gonna lose or draw?
I think.
I was just gonna let you say that the win streak is snapped.
I think the win streak
She's
is
visually
snapped.
hedging right now.
Yeah, I see the bullets of the little beads of sweat just starting to she can feel the heat here. She feels the pressure. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I think the L comes.
And we are back live. RGV, El Paso, 0-0 after the first half. Time for us to take a look at the USL news and notes for the week. And there it is. Is there a hotter team in North America than Phoenix?
That's quite phenomenal. 15-game winning streak is incredible.
Midweek madness. Red Bulls 2, North Carolina FC. They'll do battle on Wednesday. And as we said, this is Supporters Week. USL and Copa 90 team up to introduce the week. And it ends today. And check that out. USLchampionship.com/Supporters Week. Around the league, Phoenix doing it once again last night, 2-1 over Sacramento. OKC and Austin 0-0 in the first. San Antonio at the half, 2-0 over New Mexico United. Later on tonight, we're going to be in Orange County, Fresno, and Las Vegas. We take a look at the West. Phoenix, 24 games played, only 2 losses, 17 wins, and as we said, 15 in a row. That is just unbelievable. And we're going to come back live here as you look at El Paso Locomotive coming into this game with 33 points. We are going to jump out, take a break. When we come back, we will play the second half. Don't go away. We're going to find out if anybody is going to score after 45 plus 3. It was 0-0. Don't go away. You're watching USL Championship on ESPN+.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's bank.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. Customization is what we've always done. We have mustard, mayo, ketchup. It's all up to you.
When you customize your own burger, you can put your personality in it.
Manny's ketchup, no cheese. This is my Whataburger.
We customize orders 24 hours a day.
Everybody wants it just like they like it. When you can make it your own, that always enhances that experience for you.
They're just happy to do whatever makes you happy.
However you want it, I got you. Here at Whataburger, we make it just like you like it, whenever you like it.
Hola Bruce, bienvenido a Taquería Manu.
¿Taquería Manu?
Mi nueva pasión ahora que estoy retirado. Desde que probé las carnes marinadas, mi tienda para tacos son fáciles y rapidísimos de hacer.
A ver, dale.
Mira esto. Elige el sabor que quieras.
¡Híjole! ¡Qué rico!
Provecho, Bruce.
Gracias, hermano.
Carnes Marinadas, mi tienda de H-E-B, celebrando nuestra cultura, costumbres y pasión.
Welcome back to HEB Park, Rio Grande Valley, El Paso, 0-0. It's time for us to take a look at the highlights and the stats. And there was a lot of great play in the first half, Nursey.
Yeah, most certainly.
RGV knocking on the door here. Small.
Saw that early chance. Terrible defending from Yuma. As Small gives him a lifeline by putting that one just wide of the upright. Most certainly a chance that he should have put in the back of the net and giving his team a 1-0 lead.
He's going to have nightmares tonight. From the outside, led by Samuels, serving it up. Small once again.
Again, we see the success coming from those attacks down the right-hand side and those deliveries into the box. Small in the right area, but on this occasion, Yuma doing a good job defending, just enough to put him off from getting a clean strike on target.
On the other side, a great chance.
Good intricate work on his left foot. Just gets that half a yard in the defender. If he blasts that one across goal, I think he sees it in the back of the net, but he opts to go for the near post, wide of the target. Big let off there for Rio Grande Valley.
Velasquez, great individual effort, back on the other side. RGV, another opportunity. Shot from way downtown by Martinez. Going the other way, Velasquez once again, this time right foot.
Clever little nutmeg there from Velasquez. I think if he's on his left foot there, could be in the back of the net, but his unfavored right foot does a good job to hit the target and make the keeper work, but just not enough to get himself on the score sheet.
Salazar working around Yuma. Takes the shot, it has to be punched away. Yuma having a difficult night.
And again, this starts from a wide area. Salazar coming to life in the closing stages of the first half. Good shot on target, able to make the keeper work, but not good enough.
Small, trying to ricochet it off the body of Chapa, but it just couldn't get it there.
Yeah, Small's been dangerous throughout the first half. Good strike, good low and hard into the corner, but keeper was even to it and managed to get clean hands on it and keep it out the back of the net.
Stats through the first half. Possession well in favor of Locomotive. We knew that was going to happen. 2 shots to 1 on target, 10-6 in favor of RGV, but the only stat that really ever matters is the one up top, and that's 0-0.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they approach the second half, because it's going to be a matter of being clinical in the final third. As we can see, possession 64%, but if you've only had 1 shot on target, it's not really a reflection of what you're trying to achieve in the game. If you've had 64% and you have 10 shots, then you've been dominant. If you have 64% and you've only have 1 shot, really in the second half, you really need to up your offensive output.
Coach Echeverry told us Locomotive like to possess the ball. We knew that. That is Mark Lowry's way of playing. They have possessed the ball. The breakdown happens when they get basically around the box, and with the exceptions of what we saw from the individual efforts going left and right by Sebastian Velasquez, the offense really has not been there for Locomotive.
Yeah, it's just been a case of at times not making the right decision in terms of maybe having a shot at the near post instead of going across goal, or just that final execution, that final pass. You know, they've had good possession in the final third, just not anything that's dramatically troubled the goalkeeper.
All right, so if I was to say you can be the coach, we'll start with RGV. What was Echeverry talking about in the dressing room?
I think he's telling them to keep doing more of the same. If they take the chance that they had, they're in this game, and and then they can be patient. They don't need to go chasing Locomotive. They can allow them to keep possession and not create goal-scoring opportunities, because that's not going to win them the game. I think the better chances have came to Rio Grande Valley. It's just a case of they haven't been clinical enough to put them into the back of the net.
And if I take you into the other dressing room and it's a conversation with Mark Lowry, what's Lowry saying?
Hit the target. The opportunity that they had, make the keeper work. Be a little bit more. They can play sometimes possession. Sometimes they have to mix it up and play a little bit more direct at times. It cannot just always be in front of their opponents. Sometimes they need runners to make runs in behind, stretch the game, and then the space is going to open up for the likes of Herrera and Richie to join the attack and create those 3 chances. But so far it's been, a little bit pedestrian, side-to-side ball movement, not testing the goalkeeper. Needs to be more dynamic in the final third.
We switch sides. Locomotive in all blue will go from right to left on your screen. In the orange kits and the white shorts, it will be RGV going from left to right in this derby. These two teams from Texas. You like playing in derbies, didn't you?
Most definitely. It creates a greater atmosphere when you're playing in a derby. It's more passionate. It means more. Every game means a lot, but when it's a derby, it definitely means a little bit more. Going into this game, both of these teams have only won one in their last 5 games. So it's important that they start to pick up wins, especially approaching the business end of the season where it's all about points. No one at this stage really cares how your team looks, how you're playing. They care about picking up points. It's about business. It's about making the playoffs. You're not going to make playoffs by looking pretty. It's about being effective and getting points on the board at this stage.
Luis Gardia has blown the whistle. We are in the second half. Ball going all the way back to Cordy, who really only had to punch one away in the first half. That's how well RGV defended. Donovan, Castellanos. And here is RGV now crossing midfield for the first time. Small, working towards the box, serving it up. Loose ball out to Enriquez, and that finds the back of the net. How about that? Breaking through in the first minute after the break, RGV. And that is exactly what they wanted.
I don't think Coach Echeverry could have asked for a better start to the second half. We spoke about what they needed to improve, and we said being clinical in the box. Touch, finish.
Enriquez,
strike.
Enriquez the Bird. And Bird just going upper 90.
Brilliant strike. Keeper had no chance of getting to that. Fantastic start to the second half of Rio Grande Valley. Now El Paso have to press the game. They have to play more direct. They have to create goal-scoring opportunities. Exactly what we needed to get this game kick-started.
Eric Bird, who was relatively silent in the first half, coming up huge and earning a whistle like there. The 26-year-old out of the University of Virginia was the 41st overall pick by Philly Union in 2015. Played in Harrisburg and then RGV, and now on loan from Houston.
And I'm gonna go a stretch further and say, if you have Richie Ryan, you have Salgado, you have Drew Becky, you have Yuma in your team, you have to make the playoffs. Right now, El Paso are 10th. If you have names and players like that in your team, you have to make the playoffs. So the pressure's a little bit more intense for Coach Mark Lowry in making sure that they do pick up results going into the final stage of this game, because they're players who have expectations on themselves, and I'm sure the organization, as a byproduct of signing these players, have expectations for success. You know, if they were going to be about development, they would take younger players with less experience. But they've signed players who are experienced.
Rodriguez looking to connect with Small. It goes a little too far. El Paso gets to turn it around. Ryan goes out wide and goes out of play. Errant pass by Ryan, as we talked about. That's rare for him. But right now, El Paso coming out of the dressing room, and they are just snake bitten.
Yeah, and it's two different. If you speak to Coach Echeverria, you know, about the ambitions of the organization, what they're trying to achieve, you know, is there pressure on him to make the playoffs? You know, his remit is very much development, building these players, giving them exposure, preparing them for the senior team, giving minutes to players who essentially aren't getting minutes in the senior team right now. Locomotive don't have that get out. You know, they've signed experienced players. It's results and being in that playoff hunt come the end of the season that's going to count for them.
Yuma, El Paso stringing together those passes. There's that left foot by Ryan. Partita. And RGV just stepping in front. And RGV playing this game in the second half very coolly. Now they're the ones that are stringing together the possession.
Yeah, and it's two different styles. RGV, they're content not to be the aggressive team when it comes to possession, but they know that when they get dynamic.
Small misses Salazar. Late whistle there. Grande will bring everything back. Telling him that's the second. Third, you go in the book. Did you like that when you were playing? I know I joke around with you that you always got cards. But when you were playing, did you like knowing like how many warnings you've gotten?
I would probably get 4 or 5 before I got a yellow.
That is so not true.
But I never really got reds. It's a myth.
It's a myth?
It's a myth. The perception isn't factual. I would get yellows consistently, but never very often red.
Ryan sending it out for Yuma. And the captain tonight sliding it forward. Salgado having to go back. Becky. Fox. Pulling up the brakes. Sliding it forward. Salgado getting his pocket pick, but earning it back. Kiff trying to find a way to center. He finally does. Velasquez trying to center it, and it's cleared out, but RGV getting a little bit too cute before Salazar is able to pull up the brakes.
So they're doing a good job of controlling the tempo of the game there. They know they're 1-0 in the lead. Just slow down the tempo of the game now and frustrate El Paso a little bit. El Paso want the tempo to be high so they can go tick for tack and try to get themselves back in. Rio Grande Valley now having the upper hand, dictate the tempo of the game.
Down the line, Enriquez looking to center, pressure. Flirting with that line, has to go back to Samuels. Into the middle and then back again. Donovan.
El Paso, of course, right now, they do occupy the last playoff spot in 10th, but they need to be picking up 3 points so they can try to create some distance between themselves and the 11th place team. Losing this game is going to make it much more interesting for the mutual fan going into the last stages of the league.
Ball goes out of play. Corner coming up for RGV. So throughout the evening, it has been Martinez taking this one, and he'll take it again. So 53rd minute, Eric Bird struck in the 46th. And that is the one goal that we've had so far on the evening. Ketterer awaiting it. Now the traffic coming towards the box. Knocked away. And that will result in the ball staying with RGV, this time a throw.
You can see RGV being very clever right now. They're in no rush to get the ball back into play when it goes out from set pieces and it goes out for throw-ins. Completely slowing down the tempo and intensity of the game, which is very frustrating for El Paso, considering they want things to be rushed so they can try and have a chance of getting themselves back into it.
Centers. And El Paso finally gathering it up, but Yuma with the heavy touch. Able to time it, but then Small picking it back up, trying to get it to Salazar. Salazar now with the ball at his feet, but the whistle stops play. 54th minute.
Terrible touch there from Yuma that gave Rio Grande Valley the opportunity to attack there.
Talked about it earlier. Yuma, the captain, playing right fullback, and that is not a natural position for him. He has been a midfielder, often a holding midfielder.
Yeah, but I'm sure, you know, he's committed to playing that position. The coach trusts him to play in that position. He obviously trusts himself to play in that position, especially when you're wearing the captain's armband. It's a case of can he do the job for the team, and you know I'm sure Coach Larry wouldn't put him there if he wasn't capable. He's an experienced player. Being able to play at a number of positions is always valuable for coaches because it gives you more options in the players that you sign. So it's just a case of how the game is evolving.
Kiff, Velasquez goes back to Fox, sent forward, intercepted. Enriquez. Martinez trying to center. Small was the intended target. Becky got there first, got it back to his keeper. Here comes El Paso. Kiff. And that's knocked away. Samuels.
I think there's more goals in this game. I think El Paso looked very vulnerable in the counterattack. I think if Rio Grande Valley are a little bit more dynamic when they win that ball and start going forward, there's more goals in this game for them.
Richie Ryan goes into the book in the 55th minute. And that was maybe a frustrated challenge by Ryan, as you see great defense turning into offense for RGV in that challenge by Richie.
Yeah, they both fairly contest for the header, but Richie just trips him as he goes to run past him. It's an experienced foul.
What was interesting is the way that foul went was basically the same way that he distributes the ball. He's got that hop, and that hop was basically the same way he passes as he fouls. So the first card of the evening goes to the oldest man on the pitch. You may have noticed RGV wearing black armbands tonight. There was a state trooper in the area that was shot a while back and passed away today. So the Toros playing for him in his memory. Kiff on the wing, trying to hold off. Enriquez is able to punch it out. And RGV just really came out of the locker room with a completely different philosophy on the way that they wanted to play this match. So far, tale of two halves where possession belonged to El Paso in the first, now belonging to RGV. Echeverry flipping the script.
Yeah, goals completely change the flow and the momentum of games.
Ball ahead. Salazar on it. Salazar right there. Samuels. Enriquez sending it forward for Bird, looking for the brace. Knocked away. Rodriguez chases it down. Becky will keep him company.
That was a great pass. It was a great pass, but I'm pretty certain it was meant to be a shot.
I think it was ricocheted away. So it looks like we may get some changes in personnel for both of these teams for the last 30 minutes. Martinez going all the way back to his keeper.
The goal has most certainly taken the wind out of El Paso. they're now beginning to look very, very tired and lethargic. And
player down is Drew Becky, and Becky will be attended to by the medical staff. Not quite sure what the injury was.
Yeah, you're always a little bit more concerned when you see a player go down and it's not from any kind of contact or impact.
There may have been contact that we just did not see, as the motion by the referee Grande was to the head.
You can never take the temperatures and the impact that it has when you're working at full impact and intensity. You can never take for granted the impact that it can have at the body at any given time. So, you know, the medical staff obviously being very cautious in how they deal with this and taking no chances.
And we saw the trainer motion to make a change for Becky. You see the frustration out of the veteran. 28 years old, from Canada, played collegiately at the University of Denver, played in Ottawa and Jacksonville, played with Mark Lowry in Jacksonville. And Becky now will be exiting. Just a question of who exactly will be going and playing defense for Lowry here, as El Paso is in RGV.
Whatever the situation, we hope Drew has a quick recovery and everything's good, and we see him back out on the field again shortly.
Moses McKinday will come in for him. And Becky is already in the tunnel. Moses, 6'1", 185. Played for North Carolina State from 2010 to 2013. Played professionally in England, Germany, Romania, and Sweden. I think he's played in more countries than you did. Enriquez leading the charge. It will go the other way, and we're in the 61st minute. McKinday coming in the 60th. And you never like to see players walking off the pitch going directly into the dressing room. And
I think if there's any positive to take from it, was the fact that he did get up and walk on his own 2 feet towards the dressing room. But no, either way, we wish him a speedy recovery, and I'm sure with the character and personality that Drew has, you know, first opportunity, he'll be back on the field.
Salgado is down, and he's holding his knee. So we'll see exactly if he needs to be attended to, having a conversation with Grande. Looks like he's going to walk it off as we see the thumbs up from the referee. We start back up. But I think right now, as we saw the focus on Drew Becky on the pitch, what were the conversations that Mark Lowry was having with his boys? Because obviously their play is vastly different than what we saw in the first half.
Yeah, but I mean, it's different, but not that much different in that they've not really tested a goalkeeper. We're 15 minutes into the second half, and I can't remember Rio Grande Valley goalkeeper having to make a save as yet. So yes, it's been vastly different in terms they haven't been as dominant and confident in their possession, but in terms of creating goal scoring opportunities, it's been pretty much of the same.
Here is an opportunity into the final third. Flag is down. Locomotive working their way forward, headed out by Castellanos. Salazar picking it up, running room, knocked away by Kiff. Salazar gets it right back. Kiff going forward again. Salazar still on it. Yuma in front of him. Now 2 defenders. Salazar in the middle. Bird, Salazar, and he sent it wide. Sent it high and sent it wide, but it looked like it was last touched by a man in blue. So we've got a corner coming up. What an individual effort by Salazar.
Some nice play. I told you there's more goals in this game on the counter-attack for Rio Grande Valley, and here it is. You see Salazar breaks off, a nice 1-2 in the edge of the box. The defender does very well to get back and get something on that for the deflection to go over the bar, because I think had he not, that may have been destined from the back of the net, and Rio Grande Valley could have found themselves 2-0 in the lead.
Cheeky little pass backwards from Eric Bird. And another corner being served up from the near side. Headed out by El Paso. Velasquez battling. And so is RGV. Ryan sending it out. And timed perfectly by Carlos Small, and a player down for RGV.
It's that stage of the game where players are starting to pick up those injuries. Third player to go down in the last 5 minutes.
Well, and the jacket is off of Echeverry.
Salazar does it. He drifts in and out the game. He has little moments and patches in the game where he's actually devastating for the other team, and then he has patches in the game where he's very quiet and not so involved. But you've seen he has that.
Well, he's involved now because he's stretching out his teammate. We're going to get a look at what exactly took place here. There's the collision, Castellanos. The ball going back.
It may just have been when he landed there. He may have landed awkwardly and tweaked something, but it seems like he's going to be okay.
And here is a conversation between Lowry and Ryan, with all of that experience, seeing the game the way he does, very often wearing the captain's armband, basically wherever he is, El Paso and other teams, having a conversation with Mark Lowry. When Mark Lowry is talking to a guy like Richie Ryan, he's starting to get strategy from what's really taking place on the pitch.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, in the build-up to games and throughout the course of the week, that Richie has an input in how the team plays and the coaching, you know, the experience that he has. It's no doubt that he's probably going to have a future in coaching, whether it's here in El Paso or another team. You know, the kind of player and person that he is, I think that's probably going to be his future. So it makes sense for Coach Lowry to trust his players and get as much feedback as he can when he's making decisions, so that, you know, he can try to ensure that he's making the right ones.
Small picking up the ball, sending it forward. Salazar back heel, Small right back on it, sending it long, but just not connecting.
You can see the confidence building in Rio Grande Valley. They're getting a little bit more cocky and flamboyant in how they're playing. A lot more flicks, a lot more intricate 1-2s. You know, that's what a goal and having that lead can bring to you. What they need to make sure is they don't take their foot off the gas and go and end up getting sucker punched and allowing El Paso to equalize, because Rio Grande Valley deserve to be in the lead right now.
66th minute. The only change in personnel throughout this game happened in the 60th minute when Drew Becky checked out. And that was by necessity. Not a change that Mark Lowry wanted to make. That will go out of play. And that kind of changes the complexity of the game, because certainly managers don't want to make a change to their back line. Typically defenders play 90 minutes.
And especially a player like Drew, who's so experienced. You know, he's not just a defender, he's one of the leaders in your team. So you lose one of your best defenders, you also lose one of your best leaders, and you're down a goal. It's not something that Coach Mark Lowry would have planned for, but it's something he has to adjust to and tries to still get something the best out he can out of this game.
Ryan connecting with Chapa, and now Yuma chipping it into the box. Will go all the way through. Corner coming up. And one of the players, Chris, that we have really not even mentioned at all, Casavetter, has been completely silent. The 26-year-old with Bundesliga experience, and RGV has kept him silent.
Yeah, and you know, as I said, they've not been threatening going forward in the final third. And I think the fact that we've not mentioned his name too often tells the story of that.
Kiff served it up. Rodriguez sent it in the wrong direction. And that results in a corner, and Rodriguez needs to be careful because Corti doesn't want Kiff to do it again from the corner, but that's exactly what's going to happen. So outswinger coming up, and the 30-year-old who has played in Sacramento, Reno, and Charlotte, now with the expansion club in El Paso, serving it in, and that just goes past the line. And Casavetta was trying to bicycle kick it, but couldn't connect with that ball. And we saw, to start the game, Edson Partita with the bicycle.
It was a nice delivery into the box. The attacker got up early for the header, but the referee, just as he was using his hands just to get extra leverage, blew for a free kick. I'm not quite sure he was, but the referee said he saw some kind of infraction and has called it back.
El Paso right back on it. Chapa. Ryan. Now sending it forward. Velasquez. Out wide, Partita. Right into the awaiting hands of Corti. And Corti will settle everything down here in the 69th minute as RGV is nursing. You like that, Nursey? Nursing this 1-0 lead.
Still plenty of time left to play. I'm sure there'll be more goals before the end of this game.
Well, RGV coming into this game, 2 draws in their last 2 outings, including that one against San Antonio a week ago in San Antonio. And they really dug themselves in a hole in that one, going down goals early and then playing down a man. And RGV.
Needless giveaway there from Herrera.
Now moving forward, Rodriguez. And what's really impressed me in the second half is the way that RGV has moved vertically and really strung together some passes.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in between the forwards and the midfield, and you can see the midfielders just picking up with the ball and just driving 5-10 yards in front before they're being confronted by anybody.
RGV still on it, working towards the box. Salazar is there if he wants to center. Tried to do it, knocked away by Fox. Yuma is on it.
Just a little bit more care in that final pass to find the feet of Salazar, and that's 2-0. He kind of just flicks it a little bit nonchalantly, and defenders are able to clear it, but good attacking play, fantastic on the dribble. Just the final pass wasn't quite clean enough.
El Paso will have to break through the back. They've been effective going vertical until they get to the final third, and that's when things start to break down. They start going side to side, and they have not challenged Corti but once, and that was in the first half. Chapa will chase it down. McKinday back. Partita.
Grande Valley doing just a good job of getting almost everybody, all their bodies back behind the ball in their own half when they're out of possession. Just making it very difficult for El Paso to create any clean goal scoring chances right now, or to find any penetrating passes. Everything is, as you said, sideways and backwards.
And El Paso is going to make a change here in a moment, but going to have to wait for a timeout on that. Ryan serving it in, now out. McKinday, well defended, and that is knocked away. And you saw the nervous look on the face of Mark Lowry. Kiff sliding it across for the veteran from Spain. Now working the other side. Chapa feeling pressure from Bird. Velasquez into the middle.
And we saw
Andrew Samuels.
El Paso
let that go out of play.
El Paso possessed the ball there for probably close to 60 seconds in the attacking third, and didn't test the keeper at the end of it. You know, the final pass ended up being a turnover back to Rio Grande Valley without them necessarily even having to win the ball back, and that's where El Paso struggled this evening.
Contreras will replace Partita. here in the 73rd minute. Second substitution for El Paso, and Echeverry is still not gone to his bench, so you know that this game is really playing out exactly the way Echeverry wants it to.
Yeah, and I think there are positives in how El Paso played. I think they're just missing that final piece. You know, they've got the possession, they've got the confidence, they've got the fluidity in how they move the ball. Just in that final third, maybe they're lacking that one striker who can get 15 to 20 goals a season, or lacking that player who can pick up the ball and make something happen out of nothing on their own. The forward, you can argue that they've been starved of good quality service, or they just haven't had the individual ability to make anything happen for themselves. But in the final third has most certainly been where they've not quite got things right yet.
While we're still in this timeout, giving me an opportunity to tell you that getting updates and alerts all year long is easy by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for RGV and then click on the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on RGV's next match. Go to ESPN.com now and click follow for your club. Kicked away. RGV really playing with a tremendous amount of confidence in the second half.
There's one thing we've not seen Richie Ryan do. He has a laser-like long pass. You know, if the ball shifts to one side and there's somebody who's fast and free in the outlet on the other side, he can play those balls directly in the air.
El Paso now working their way into the final third, into the box, having to go out of the box, and RGV is just making them chase. Paso getting the ball to Richie Ryan, and one of the things, Chris, is we haven't seen Richie this far down the pitch with the ball at his feet. Most of the time we've seen him playing the ball out of his own end.
Yeah, and everything's been fairly short. You know, he has played a couple of nice passes around the corner because he has that vision, but it's just not connected as fluid as they may have envisioned this evening, and it's probably a very frustrating one for Coach Larry and frustrating for some of the attacking players on the pitch this evening.
Corner coming up. Contreras will take it. Out swinger into the middle of the box and knocked away by RGV. He'll chase it down. Send Kiff moving along.
Rio Grande Valley with all 11 players back behind the ball right now in their defensive third.
Contreras, a little one-touch. Chapa couldn't make the move on it. Cleared out by RGV.
There's just an example of a good possession, a good opportunity, and just a little stab pass that doesn't quite connect and come off as it might envision. Again, you know, similar again. That's Herrera twice in 30 seconds.
Pass bypasses Richie Ryan. He's calling for it not once but twice and not getting it. Now a third. Kiff switching sides for Yuma. Now in the 77th minute with RGV up 1-0. Eric Bird in the 46th. Kiff sliding it forward.
I think this is where Coach Echeverry may look to bring on some fresh legs just to give them a little injection energy going into the final 15 minutes.
Cleared out once again. So would you bring in an attacking player, or would you bring in a defending-minded midfielder?
I think you may bring in both. You know, some fresh legs up top to try and see if they can stretch the game and create.
Race to the line, and it's a little too heavy.
See if they can create another scoring chance, because 1-0 is obviously very dangerous. And just another player who can come in and just provide a little bit more steel through the center of the field.
We're going to have a third substitution of the evening, as Chapa is going to check out of this game. And coming in is Gomez. So with 12+ minutes left in this game, Josue Gomez in for Chapa.
Chapa and Ryan are fairly decent defensively, you know, in the center of the park. throughout the course of this game. But, you know, we mentioned a couple of times in the last 5 minutes where a bit careless in his attacking distribution. And coach obviously making that change because they need that to be a little bit more potent to get themselves back into this game.
Ryan into the middle. McKinday taking his time. Velasquez pulling up the brakes. Ryan. Contreras. McKinday. And that was ushered out very, very well by Andrew Samuels. Carlos Small's evening is over here in the 79th minute. And Remilio will come in for him.
And that's that attacking change that we were discussing. The coach just looking to freshen things up top, because obviously if they go too defensive, you know, you're just putting yourself under pressure. They still want to maintain an offensive threat to give themselves an outlook and to be on the front foot.
Emilio Hernandez will end the evening at Carlos Small. And Small with 3 outstanding chances in the first half, and he just couldn't close the deal.
Yeah, forward mentality. He'd be disappointed to leave the pitch without getting himself onto the score sheet. But, you know, he'll be still supporting his team, hoping they can go through it and maintain this lead and get the 3 points. But from a striker's perspective, the opportunities he's had, he'd be disappointed that he didn't find the back of the net this evening.
And the wind has certainly picked up throughout the evening. It was windy to start, but it has really become a factor in it blowing into the face of Nico Corti. And you would think that that would actually benefit El Paso, because they can definitely go vertical a lot more effectively when they don't have to pass into the wind.
Yeah, but especially going into the last 10 minutes when tired legs and concentration starts to lapse, any kind of advantage that you can get is going to have a huge benefit. And having the wind behind you, giving you that little bit of extra push, can be a huge factor in the closing stages.
Yuma here in the 80th minute, flicking it forward. And that will be ushered out by Corti.
It can also be a negative in that pass that he just hits there without the wind behind him. Maybe it holds up and it settles just right. With the wind behind him, he has to take a little bit off it to take it into consideration.
You get a look at how strong that wind really is going into that supporters section. Tune in to ESPN 3 on August 30th at the local time here. It will be 7:30 for a special Friday night edition of Wednesday Night Soccer. One of championship's biggest rivalries takes center stage when Indy 11 heads south on I-65 to meet Lou City. See it all August 30th during a Friday night edition of Wednesday Night Soccer.
There we see it again, a fantastic, you know, penetrating dribble with the ball, it breaks into the box, and just the final pass just isn't good enough. It goes out for a goal kick. I tell you what this win does mean. If a player like Richie Ryan is able to pick up the ball, take a touch and get the ball out his feet and hit the ball clean with his technique, it's going to cause the keeper a big problem if it's on target.
Velasquez trying to send it out wide, missing Gomez, resulting in Corti knocking it down the pitch with his right foot. Salazar trying to fight off 2 defenders. Pulled down from behind, and Richie Ryan might be the man who earned the whistle.
It's a good job there from Salazar, using his body to protect the ball and win the free kick. Richie Ryan has to be careful here because he's already on a yellow card, and the referee doesn't seem too impressed with that challenge.
And he's having a conversation with Gardia. And Gardia not going to his pocket, but Richie needing to be careful as both Kiff and Richie Ryan were surrounding Salazar. Salazar going down. And you see Gardia motioning for Richie Ryan to have the conversation.
I'm going to nominate Salazar for an Oscar.
Yeah, but he gets the magic spray.
I'm going to say a player of his frame and stature should be a little bit more robust and rugged and spend a little less time on the floor receiving treatment.
The man from Belize, 5'11", 181. And And Richie Ryan on the other side, 5'10", 164.
He's just fine.
And I don't think Richie Ryan is 5'10". 83rd minute, 1-0 RGV. Waiting for Luis Gardia to blow the whistle and start us back up, and Salazar walking off the pitch once again this evening.
Magic spray. He'll be okay.
Bird, Samuels. Salazar is motioned back onto the pitch. And RGV, unforced error, goes past the touchline.
At this stage of the game, it's important that the players stay engaged mentally. That Salazar having to go off there sends his team down to 10 men when they're in the lead. That's the last thing you want to do, is your team having to go down and play a man down, you know, unnecessarily. If you are injured 100% and you have to go off, of course, you need to go off and you get treatment. But just to have that little break for yourself and put your team down to 10, you know, you kind of want to frame that. You just have to just go through the pain and be in there for your team.
Also adds time to the end of the game.
Yeah.
El Paso trying to find a way to march down the pitch. Heavy touches like that aren't going to get it done. And they have defended so very well. Able to stop El Paso from going forward and then clear it out of the zone. Yuma now sliding it forward. And El Paso needs to find ways to get shots on frame if they want to even this game. McKinday serving it up into the box, headed out. Enriquez trying to put his head on it, but it's gathered up by McKinday. Fox. Kiff. And Yuma sending it forward. Shot from distance is well off the mark. And we've got another substitution coming in now in the 85th minute for RGV.
That strike didn't seem like it was going to taste the keeper, but from the keeper's reaction, he was fairly worried in the way he scrambled across the goal and dived, but it looked like it was well wide.
So we're going to see Rodriguez come out for Beckford. So Beckford for Rodriguez, and that will be officially in the 86th minute. And a good slow down of the game.
Good, smart, strategic substitutions from Coach Echeverri.
The way he's spacing them out.
Substitution number 37 to Shane Beckford. For number 27, Kevin Rodriguez.
Slowing this game just enough and trying to nurse that lead once again. You like that term.
Game management is critical to being successful and getting good results. It cannot be underestimated. Just the ability to slow the game down, the tempo of the game, the substitutions at the right time, personnel at the right time. These are the small little intricate details that successful coaches have that allow them to win games.
Right away, Beckford making an impact in this game. Salazar waited a little too long, still battling on the ball. Gathered up by El Paso. But Beckford showing some speed right away, blasting through into the final third before Salazar overran the ball inside the box.
Yeah, Salazar just trying to get half a yard of space there to get a shot off on goal, but El Paso did a good job of closing down the space and shutting down the shot.
McKinday trying to send it down the line. Enriquez played it smartly. It will stay with RGV. Every time the ball goes out of play right now, 10, 15, 20 seconds off the clock, RGV will play it just that way.
Yeah, I think Coach Lowry will be pretty frustrated this evening. You know, one dilemma that I know coaches face is when you possess, how to make that possession beneficial to create goal-scoring opportunities, because, you know, 60% is a considerable amount of possession of the ball in the game. But if you're unable to test the goalkeeper, you know, substantially, it doesn't mean anything. And there again, you know, we see an errant pass, unnecessary.
You're marching down the pitch, you're in possession of the ball in the final third, and you throw it away. And this is 15, 20, 25 seconds off the clock now in the 88th minute.
Yep, and you see Rio Grande, the tactics they've deployed now going into the final stage of the game. Earlier in the game, the defense was dropping off. They're picking up the ball and playing out. Now everything is long. You know, everything takes that 10, 20, 30 seconds longer. At the end of the game, it adds up to a few minutes, and that's how you manage the time.
Salazar
doing what he does well, getting free kicks.
And this will take more time off the clock. We're now in the 89th minute. And like you said, game management, especially when you're up a goal, is critical. And right now, RGV looking to pick up their first win in a while, but it will be their third game unbeaten if they can hang on.
It may be frustrating in how Salazar plays, but it's very effective for his team. You know, it allows his team to get up the field, winning high free kicks. It allows his team to control the tempo of play by going down and having delays. You know, he's an effective guy for the way Rio Grande Valley play.
It has been more than a month since RGV won a game, and that was hosting Sacramento back on July 20th. And they are a few minutes away from picking up their first win since then. After that, it was a loss at Las Vegas, 2-1. Same result with Reno at home, and then on the road in Colorado Springs and San Antonio were draws.
Yeah, this is most certainly going to be a dent for Locomotive in their chase to get to the playoff places and maintain that 10th spot in the run down towards the end of the season. But there's still a lot of games left to play. Playing away from home and getting results is always very tough.
El Paso now in the 90th, looking for the equalizer. Game certainly not over. McKinday for Fox, and you see how high Fox is playing right now. Ryan. And we also saw a defensive change by El Paso when Drew Becky came out of the game, and that's another one of those errant passes.
Another one of those errant passes, and I think Rio Grande Valley need to be just a little bit careful in how deep they're dropping here and allowing El Paso to dictate the tempo of the game in the possession.
We have 5 minutes of added time for your viewing pleasure, and a lot of that due to Salazar.
Yeah, and I think they want Salazar just to maintain the pressure on those defensive midfielders, not to drop off too deep, because if they invite the pressure, there'll be no worse result than to allow El Paso to get an equalizing goal in these final 5 minutes based upon how well Rio Grande Valley have played this evening.
Richie Ryan, and that might have been his exit from this game.
That could be his second yellow card.
And it is. And more activity after the yellow.
That's the last thing that El Paso need going into the final stages, is to lose probably your biggest leader on the pitch for the following game after a defeat.
And we're going to take a look at this foul here. Ryan on the challenge, studs up, and that's going to do it for you every time.
Yeah, I think if you go to ground and you don't connect with the ball, the referee is going to call the yellow card. I think he does connect with the ball, but again, you know, as we mentioned earlier, the rules have changed. You cannot play as aggressive as maybe you could have in years past. These referees can give yellow cards for excessive force. But
so now El Paso will play down a man for the remainder of the game and down a goal, putting even more pressure on Mark Lowry and company. Final substitution of the evening coming up for RGV. And we'll have to wait for a stoppage of play for Coronado to come in. El Paso now in the final third. Looking for space and just a wall of orange kits in front of them. Fox challenged by Beckford. Now Kiff, who was on the wing to start the game, comes into the middle because of the exit of Drew Becky.
And if this result means the same, this will be a
ball into the middle. headed in the wrong direction if you're rooting for RGV, but it looks like it will be a goal kick for Cordy. So Jesus Enriquez is going to come out here in the 93rd, and Coronado will be in.
If this result remains the same, there'll only be one win in El Paso's past 6 games. Now, that's not form or results that are leading you to become a playoff or a successful playoff team. You know, you going towards the playoffs, you want to be picking up momentum, picking up good results, good performances, so you have that confidence going into those knockout stages in a few weeks' time. So something's going to have to turn around pretty quickly for El Paso if they're really going to mount a strong challenge to go into the playoffs and then to the championship.
This was a very evenly played match in the first half. Possession arrow was in favor of El Paso. Better chances on the counter for RGV. They come out of the dressing room, score in the first minute. That was Eric Bird in the 46. And basically this game has been completely dominated in the second half by the men wearing the orange kits, and also the way Echeverry has coached this match. Once again now, the attack. Here's Bird. Beckford took his shot, ricochets away, corner coming up in the 95th minute, and just everything has gone right in the last 45 plus minutes for the Toros.
Yeah, but the definitive moment has been able to take that chance that came at the beginning of the second half. Just that control shot, that's been the definitive moment in the game. Had they done that earlier in the first half, you know, they would have found themselves in the lead at halftime. Had El Paso been able to create goal-scoring opportunities, they may have found themselves in the league. But goals win games, goals change games, and you know that moment of brilliance is the defining factor, the big moment that's decided this game.
Play goes into the corner. And they go short on the corner, trying to nurse the clock. El Paso on it. And maybe one more push for Locomotive. Knocked away momentarily. El Paso still on it. We are now in the 96. We're on borrowed time. And that might have done it.
You see Manchester United do it at times, Bruce. In the final couple of minutes of the games, they put the ball down.
Beckford on it. Knocked away by Ketterer.
If they're chasing the game in the final moments, they'll put the ball down and they'll hit long diagonal balls forward. We're over the 5 minutes and we're still playing forward and sideways passes here for El Paso. You know, they need to get the ball in the box.
Ball will belong to RGV. We're waiting for Gardia to blow the whistle and end the game. And we're almost to the 97th minute.
And that comes from the responsibility of the players on the field. They understand you're chasing the game. You know, sometimes it's not pretty. It's not pretty. But sometimes you have to play direct and get the ball forward so you can possibly pick up the second ball and get yourself a goal.
That is the game. RGV with the win. They get the goal in the 46th minute. Eric Bird. And that is the way that they finish this game up. Coach Echeverry ends the game without his jacket on. And a big win for his team.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic win for his team. It'll give them a lot of confidence. They're coming off of 2 draws. They managed to pick up a win here tonight against a very good team who is very complimentary about. I think they were very thorough and dominant in how they performed, confident, although they didn't dictate possession. How they played was effective for the players that they have.
RGV gets the win over El Paso. Time for us to take a break. On the other side, we'll give you highlights and stats. Don't go away here on ESPN+.
The more we are together with nature, the more we are together, the better we'll be. There's forests and rivers, mountains and valleys. The more we are together, the better we'll be.
35 years, Lone Star National Bank has grown along with our customers. Together, we have helped transform South Texas, raised families, and planted roots to create opportunities that benefit not the few, but the many, to plan and build for a better tomorrow, to imagine what is possible. That is how you build strong communities and the strong bank, one generation at a time. For 35 years, Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's bank.
Welcome to your hometown Whataburger. Customization is what we've always done. We have mustard, mayo, ketchup. It's all up to you.
When you customize your own burger, you can put your personality in it.
Manny's ketchup, no cheese. This is my Whataburger.
We customize orders 24 hours a day.
Everybody wants it just like they like it. When you can make it your own, that always enhances that experience for you.
They're just happy to do whatever makes you happy.
However you want it, I got you. Here at Whataburger, we make it just like you like it, whenever you like it.
Welcome back to Rio Grande Valley. They are the victors in this derby, 1-0 over the visitors from El Paso. Bruce Silverman along with Chris Nurse. And Chris, this was a game that we knew was going to be competitive. RGV finding a way to win.
Yep, they came out the second half on fire. Here we have early in the first half, bad defending there from Yuma. Fantastic opportunity for Small, settles the ball down, just not accurate enough in his finish, wide of the upright. Fantastic opportunity to put his team 1-0 in the lead.
Normally I would say he would have a nightmare tonight with the fact that the team ended up winning. Maybe he'll sleep a little bit better. Chance on the other end, and both chances that we saw tonight were from Sebastian Velasquez.
Yeah, Velasquez does well to pick up the second ball here. Good dribbling on his left foot, gets that half a yard. Just doesn't get enough on it to wrap his foot around it and hit the target. Surprised himself, but that was a good opportunity for them to get themselves on the score sheet.
And then he has another opportunity here. He'll do it on the right side, and that one is punched away. That was the only time that Corky really was called into action. On the other side, Salazar. And that's punched away.
Yeah, some good footwork here from Salazar. Gets inside the box, half a yard. On target, makes the keeper work.
And here's Small on the outside, working his way into the box, centering, looking for Enriquez. Eventually it gets to Enriquez, who sends it into the middle. Bird, back of the net.
Yeah, Bird makes no mistake smashing this one into the back of the net. Fantastic pass here for Enriquez. Fantastic first touch, and he buries that one and gives the keeper absolutely no chance of stopping it.
So we continue to go, and this is Beckford, who came into the game late, trying to put the icing on the cake. Ketterer comes up big, but we end the game 1-0 on that Bird goal. And RGV picking up their first win since July 20th. We take a look at the full-time stats. There was that red card handed out, the double yellow to Richie Ryan. Possession stayed with Locomotive. 4-1 on target, 17-9. That's that confidence that we talked about, and the only stat that ever matters is the goals.
Yeah, we spoke about 64% and only one shot on target. It's pretty clear for all of us to see where the work needs to be done for El Paso if they're really going to make a push for the playoffs in the closing 9 games of this season.
Next up for RGV, they'll go on the road. They will stay in Texas, take on Austin. That is on September 1st at 7:30. We take a look at those stats. Phoenix rising 56 points up top. Now a new team in 10th, and that is the LA Galaxy 2.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here in Rio Grande Valley to see this game by the Toros as they pick up a big 3 points in a derby against a team from their home state. For everyone at Vista in the control center here in Rio Grande Valley, for Chris Nurse, I'm Bruce Silverman. Thanks for being with us. 1-0 Rio Grande Valley over El Paso. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League